Hey, gang. Okay. Wanted to bring everybody up to speed. I don't know if you guys have heard, probably not. Uh, Good news. Yay. Along the transgender front. Yes, finally some good news. I mean, if you've been keeping up to date on anything that's been, happening, especially with this administration, then you know how things are and how bad things are for the LGBT community, and specifically transgender. I mean, some of the latest numbers, they're not all in yet, but so far this year alone, 2025, there have been 1,020 pieces of anti-LGBT and anti-transgender pieces of legislation that have been introduced nationwide in all different states. 1,000, just over 1,000, 1,020 pieces of legislation. Just as a comparison, between 2021, 2022, 2023, and 2024, 4 years, the number of pieces of legislation has been 1,600. Actually, 1,643. So 600 more pieces of legislation in 4 years versus 1,600 versus 1,000 in 1 year. So, yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff going on. But, like I said, good news. Now, the good news is from the World Health Organization, and they update their standards. And they did their latest update. So they have international classifications for different kinds of health concerns. It's called the IDC. The last one was IDC 10, the newest version, IDC 11, which they just put out. They actually made a change, which is a plus, such a plus for us. Because, backstory, okay? You're transgender in order to have insurance and have gender affirming care and hormone replacement therapy and any kind of care that you need to be transgender. And remember, transgender is the umbrella. We're talking about people that are male to female, female to male. We're also talking about people that are non-binary, people that are gender non-conforming. Because remember, trans just means like aside from the regular gender. So with that, so transgender, in order to have any kind of medical care, you have to have a diagnosis. And the diagnosis was always as gender dysphoria. Now, gender dysphoria is actually a mental health concern. It's a mental health. Okay, it's classified by the American Psychiatric Association as in the DSM-5 psychiatric diagnosis. So it's a psychiatric diagnosis. That's why there was a time when people in this current administration were saying that transgender people are mentally ill, have a mental illness. Well, gender dysphoria is classified as a psychiatric diagnosis. So basically it is a mental diagnosis, gender dysphoria. Well, what and really, what is that? Okay, so it is the psychological distress that's a result of an inconsistency between the sex assigned at birth and the gender identity. Okay, so there's an inconsistency there. Or, what's another word for inconsistency? Parentheses, incongruence. Incongruence. So now, what the WHO, the World Health Organization, in their ICD-11, the latest version of their international classification, they actually updated, and they updated the diagnosis to reflect the modern understanding, how we're starting to understand more about sexual health, and the current ideology of the gender diverse identities. Like I said, you have transgender under the umbrella of the trans, male to female, female to male. You have the non-binary, gender non-conforming. So the IDC 11 acknowledges that link between gender identity and actual sexual behavior. And so what they're saying is that now the IDC-11 is saying that it's an incongruence, which now shifts from gender dysphoria, which is a mental health or psychiatric diagnosis, to gender incongruence, which is a sexual health diagnosis. Okay, so now it's, people can't say, you see, gender dysphoria is a psychiatric diagnosis, so you're mentally ill. No, now it's a sexual health diagnosis, gender incongruence. It's a sexual health, which goes along the lines of what are the sexual health issues? Biological women have sexual health issues, uterine cancer and endometriosis and, all different things. And men have, testicular cancer, prostate. It's all sexual health. So this is a plus on the world stage, which is fantastic. And because it's still a health concern, a sexual health concern, the insurance company should follow suit with it, and there shouldn't be any interruptions. Okay, so thank you, World Health Organization. We just hope that at least here in this country, that things just, change a little bit, but we'll have to see what happens with that. I don't know. But either way, life is to be worn gloriously. That's it. I wake up in the morning, there's no chalk line around me. It's a good day. Life is to be worn gloriously because, up until the last minute, future is what we make it. So let's make it good. Let's bring us back to humanity and empathy and caring about each other. Let's make life good, and let's make the future good. So, thanks, gang. See you later.